In this SketchUp tutorial, I'm going to cover the basics of how to use the Paint Bucket tool. We can access the Paint Bucket tool either in our large tool set here, or we can actually grab it from the window menu. So if you don't have the Paint Bucket out, I'm just going to close this up for a second, and go to Window, you'll see that Materials is here as well. So what we're doing here is actually painting on either wall color or wood on the furniture, carpeting on the floor, whatever it might be. So up until this point, we've basically been working in a gray world, other than the materials that have been associated with different components that we've brought in from the 3D warehouse. But we haven't done any ourselves. So within the materials palette, we have a few different options. If we look over here, you'll see that by default colors comes up. So you can paint a whole variety of just solid, simple colors that are represented in a variety of values and saturation levels. And those are definitely good for schematic designs or paint colors and that type of thing. But it is also broken down into other categories. So if I hit this little drop down, you'll see that there's not only colors, but there's things like fencing and metal, roofing, vegetation, wood, water, all of that type of stuff. Up at the top, there's also a few different options, including in model. So as you're working, if you want to find out all of the materials that you have in your model, you can click there and that will have the whole list populated. Now, as I mentioned, we will actually have some materials in there because of objects we've brought from the 3D warehouse, nothing that we've used so far. So I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to start out with some plain colors. Okay, now if I wanted to paint my walls any certain color, there is something unique you'll have to do. Now let's say I just come down and pick some wall color to paint with. So I'll pick this blue. If I just come in and click on a wall to paint it, it's going to paint all of my walls and my floor. That's because they're grouped together. So if you don't go in to edit a group, it will paint the entire thing any given colors. That can work out really well if that's what you want to happen or if it gets most of it. But in this case, I might not want every wall and all my floors to be painted blue. So I'm just going to hit Control Z, or I can go up to Edit and Undo to change that. So what I want to do is just get my selection tool, double click, and now I've activated my walls and my floor. So now I can grab blue and then just click on any given face and paint that particular wall. So I'm able to go around and click on different walls and paint them whatever color that I'm interested in. So I can paint those walls blue, maybe this hallway. And then I could get into another space, choose another color, and paint those rooms. Okay, so this is in the edit group mode that I'm able to come in and select something that's more appropriate than the entire space being just one color. Okay, so that worked out pretty well. And when I'm done, I can just select out of it, and my group is back, but now everything has been painted a different color. Now if I wanted to put something on the floor, for example, you'll see that this is all one continuous space, so I'll have the same material throughout. I very well might want that, but if I don't, what I'll need to do is just go in and separate it into separate spaces. So what I might do is double click to get into that edit group mode, but this time just draw a line. Let's say I wanted this particular room to have a different material on it. I'll just go in, maybe draw a line from here to here, for example. And when I do that, you'll notice it puts a face in there. Don't panic, you can just click and delete that. That's just what SketchUp does. And now I should be able to put a different flooring material in this space versus the rest. Okay, so I'll come in and maybe I'll pick carpet and textiles, and I could just try putting some carpeting in this space. So I could pick this carpet loop pattern, and when I click on the floor there, it puts the carpeting in all of that space. If I don't like that, I could certainly come in and change it maybe to wood. We'll try that. Maybe there's something like that. And then I could come into this space Maybe I'll try, oh, how about a tile? And so now I'm able to have different flooring in different rooms. Now, if I wanted to put material on my table and chairs, for example, first I need to click outside that group, I could do that. What I can do is come in, double click to get in there, and then double click to get in and edit my component. Now if I go in, I should be able to put some material, on this table and chair that we made in a previous video. So I will pick a color and I can start painting my chair. So you'll see that as you do this, you need to kind of work your way around and paint different surfaces. So it can be a little taxing and tedious on some objects. But once you're done, you will have something that's more true to your design than a simple gray chair. So I haven't gotten all of the surfaces, but enough to get the point across. So once you're done, I'll just click out of that, and you can see how that's really going to change the look of the space. So that's really the basics of using the paint bucket tool.